This MDF cabinet moved with us from my mom's place, and it's already been through some transitions. A few years ago, I added these dowels for a fluted look and painted the sides light brown. And then I stopped without even finishing painting. But it's a solid cabinet and I didn't see the point of getting rid of it. So instead, I finally decided to upgrade it. By this point, it had tape marks from the move, water damage, this awkward leg situation, and unfinished dowels. The whole thing just looked miserable, and it made me feel miserable having it around. Because it's MDF, there's no nice material or grain to work with, so painting was really the only option. But first, it needed a lot of prep. I decided to keep the dowels, partly because it was easier and partly because I like having some texture. I wanted them to feel more wavy, so I filled the gaps with caulk. Spoiler, it didn't really look wavy in the end. Still, sealing those gaps helped smooth out the look of the doors. Applying the caulk was messy. I used my finger and the caulk got everywhere. I sanded it back with 80 grit sandpaper and quickly regretted not using wood filler instead, because caulk has this rubbery texture. It was cheap though, so here we are. The result wasn't bad. I just used way too much of it. Eventually, I removed the doors and drawers, which really should have been step 1. And somehow, even then, I forgot to remove an unfixed shelf. Realizing that later was painful. Next up, the legs. I knew I wasn't going to use them, so they had to go. I'll have to find another project for them. I cleaned the inside of the cabinet and taped off the parts I wasn't removing. The doors still had plenty of caulk on them, so I used my sanding machine to smooth everything out properly. There were also holes from the previous handles. They were on the inside, so no one would ever see them, but I would know. So I filled them with wood filler. Then came more leg removal. I taped the cabinet to guide my jigsaw cuts. I'm not sure how much it helped, but the important thing is that the small MDF legs were gone. I sealed the cut areas with wood filler for a clean finish. Again, no one will see it, but I'd know, and this knowledge would haunt me. I planned to add new legs, and since they had long metal dowels, I needed to build up the thickness at the bottom of the cabinet. I cut some thin plywood squares and attached them with glue and a nail gun.
Oh.
When drilling the holes for the new legs, I marked my drill bit with tape, just to avoid drilling too deep. Then it was time to prime and paint. I cleaned everything one last time before priming. Since this cabinet is MDF with a mix of old paint and wood, I primed the whole thing to be safe. It's been through enough already. Yes, I even primed on the inside. For paint, I used some Ferro and Bold samples I already had. They were estate emulsion, which isn't meant for furniture, but I like the color. I'd primed properly, so I went for it. Only time will tell if it was a good idea. I mixed 2 pots of bamboozle, which I think is my favorite red color now, with 1 pot of Charlotte's Locks. For the inside, I used Tiger Tea from Rust-Oleum, mostly because I had loads of it. I even used it as the first coat on the outside, knowing it would blend well with the red-orange top color. After 2 or 3 coats, I still had plenty left, so I clearly need more furniture to paint orange. I used a small brush for the corners and a roller for the larger surfaces. I also painted the legs with the same bamboozle Charlotte's Locks mix. Once the paint was dry, I sealed everything with a glossy varnish. Initially the surface looked very white and foamy, which was a bit unnerving, but it dried completely clear. The trick is to spread the varnish as evenly as possible. Finally, it was time to put everything back together. I used some handles I already had and had been meaning to use somewhere, and this cabinet turned out to be the perfect place. I really like how they look against the red-orange finish. I wish projects happened as fast as they do in videos. In reality, this one took a few weeks, not counting the earlier changes from years ago. So really, I've been working on this cabinet on and off for a very, very long time. And finally, I'm really happy with how it turned out.